Welcome to Melted. This is Frankie Melted Chapsticks Hollywood, the lead singer, and I play rhythm guitar for the Melted Chapsticks. Melted is sponsored by Carlino Guitars, hottest brand in the land. You can reach Eddie, just hit the store at 135 Mystic Ave in Medford. He's open all week long. He does work for Kiss, Slash, you name it, he does it. Slaughter, he does custom straps and guitars. And so we're so excited today to have Monica Lewellen on from Nashville. Singer, songwriter, coming out with an EP, sings like an angel. From Guns N' Roses, which I've tried before. Haven't quite hit that high note yet, especially with Sweet Child of Mine. But Monica can do that. She also is in a Kiss tribute band, which is interesting to talk about. She's cutting a solo EP right out of Nashville, Tennessee. She does a Beatles gig with Phil Shouse, who's been on the show before. And they sound so good. They're amazing together. So we will get into her career, her life, and I'm really excited to talk about that stuff. The Kiss tribute band, a whole bunch of folks she's worked with, and we'll get into that shortly. But make sure you get down to Carlino Guitars. He did a nice rhinestone guitar for me and some straps. You can also get lessons there from Joe Filoni, which I need, actually, which is exciting. I love the guitar. Again, started on bass because it only had 4 strings. And Nashville is a hotbed of music. Really exciting place. Nashville is so exciting. So I'm excited to get down there and play some music, have some laughs today. She has a band, the Lewellen Degenerates. And all the way from Nashville, we like that. Monica Lewellen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Frank?
You know what? I'm grateful. It's a great snowy day. I've asked you and Phil to come up and help me shovel. I mean, where are you guys when I need you?
Sorry, that's the reason I moved to the South.
Right. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Pittsburgh.
The Steel City.
Yeah, I grew up shoveling snow. I don't miss it one bit.
Not at all. Are you a Steelers fan?
To be perfectly honest, I really don't watch much sports. I used to be a diehard, but past few years I haven't really been into it very much.
No, I don't blame you. It is a lot of fun for those who enjoy it.
Absolutely.
It's good.
I think every musician just harbors a little resentment whenever you're playing a show and they've got the big game on the TV screen and no one's paying attention to the musician.
Wait 1 second. A little resentment? I need to get on your level. You are a Zen Buddhist at this point.
Yeah, well, I try to be.
Well, that's all we can do. A few things. I have a great idea.
Sure.
You and Phil Shouse, the Beatles. I think you should do a world tour of amphitheater brunches. I'm not kidding. I see you guys. It was, an amazing set that I got to watch. It was the Fab Four behind you, which is the Fab Two, you and Phil. So it's like a Fab Six-pack.
That's taking it to the next level right there.
We're not afraid to do that at all. How did you and Phil meet?
I met him at one of the rock and roll residency shows that they were doing here in Nashville. Obviously, unfortunately, we haven't had any of those for over a year, but like a rock and roll review. And usually there's some type of theme. Either they have, famous artists sit in, or the one where I met him at, it was a 1977 themed show. And, he plays lead guitar and bass and everything, but he actually sang Let There Be Rock by AC/DC, and I was blown away. So I ended up talking to him after that show, and we always kind of stayed in touch and were friends. And when I did my solo Beatles show back in April, as my birthday celebration because of COVID, nobody could really go anywhere. Then we started talking more, and I was driving back from the beach with my friend, and we were just listening to all the Beatles albums, and I'm like, man, it'd be really great if I could get somebody else to do this with me who could play lead and sing some harmonies. And the next day he texted me asking if I would want to do that, and I was like, dude, you read my mind.
Right across the universe. Thank you.
Yeah, it was definitely synchronicity, and I really couldn't be more grateful or blessed to have him, because he's just as much, if not more, of a Beatles fanatic, as I am. So it's been really great just to play with somebody who loves the music and it has the familiarity with it. It's almost like we don't have so much to learn because we know it so well.
No, I was working on Help. I Need Somebody Help. And that's because I had a flat tire. No. I just love the Beatles. I really do. And to see, did they do that on purpose to have the Fab Four in the background while you two were playing?
Yes. Yeah, they do that to just, I guess, it's like our opener, if you will.
Yes. No, I just thought that was so cool. Really cool.
It's been a truly amazing experience because, I've been singing the Beatles at the top of my lungs at home since I was 2 years old. And now being able to do this, I've played guitar since I was 17, but I have learned things through learning their music to the degree and the detail that we do, because we really try to capture all the elements that you can, being an acoustic duo. It's just totally broadened my knowledge and my abilities, music wise, and it's been a real blessing. So while some people view the whole COVID thing as a burden, for me, it's been a great time to just develop and grow as a person and as a musician.
No, I feel the same way, really working on stuff. And I started later in life. I've been 28 for centuries now. But it really is the choice that we make to learn the music, take care of ourselves. It's been tough. And to be able to, how many shows do you have coming up as far as with your Beatles thing?
We actually today we're talking about just doing a live stream from home. That'll probably be within the next week or week and a half. He was actually heading in to do a gig. He's down in Florida, I believe. So I'll probably do a post on Facebook related to that later today or tomorrow. And then we have a show booked at Wind Down again, the 28th. That's Sunday from noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. Awesome.
No, your music, you're a songbird. I mean, I watched your Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. We actually play that, and you're just, your range, what is your range? Do you know? You hit those high notes.
I've never actually tried to map it out, but I can do Guns N' Roses in the record key from Mr. Brownstone to Night Train, so I would imagine it's pretty close to Axl's. Obviously, I have a pretty deep voice for a woman, but I can get high if I need to. No,
you really do. And we're not talking about marijuana. I don't know if it's legal in your state, or I've never tried it, but yes.
It's not legal in Tennessee yet, so mom's the word.
No, we'll keep it. What is that stuff? Oh, that's just some of my bad cooking.
Yeah, I know, it's CBD, brother. Just that for my aches and pains.
Yeah. Do you have a dog at all?
I don't have any pets. I'm not actually allowed to per my lease, but also I am kind of like the type of person that likes to just get up and go and do things. So I don't like the feeling of being tied down.
No, absolutely.
But I do love animals.
And for me, that's usually a third date, but whoa, knock it off, okay? I have a cat, and I was only asking about the dog because I got Phil Shouse has his company Mutt Merch, and
yeah.
I got a t-shirt for a beautiful Shiba Inu named Toshi. He just has great stuff. So contractually, if you guys are going to do any more gigs, you have to, get a dog and get some Mutt Merch, okay?
Absolutely. He's got good stuff now. He just dropped his new website.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I sold my soul for rock and roll, and then I bought a Kia Soul. And I also grabbed one of his keychains, and not to remember his name, but it's just to hold keys. And you guys look like you have so much fun.
We really do. I mean, I would say like those shows are just pure joy for both of us. Really getting to dig into stuff that we really love. And, you know, when we started out, we kind of agreed, okay, we're just going to do the songs that have 2-part harmonies, doubled vocals, like on the record. But as time's gone on, we're like, well, people want to hear this one, and let's just do it. You know, so it was a few weeks ago, it was before we did the last show. He sent me like an audio clip, and I'm like, what the heck does he want? And I opened it, and it was him playing the intro to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I almost started crying. I was like, yes, let's do that song. And I was so excited. It's really great to do these, you know, I hate to use the word work, but play these, you know, work through these shows and do these shows with them because of just the enthusiasm and the love that we both have for it.
No, absolutely. And that's something that we talk about is, you know, having joy in our lives, God forbid. You know, I'm sure that's one of the reasons. You've been in Nashville for how long now?
I just had my 8-year anniversary. Was it the 20th or the 21st of January? Which coincidentally was also my 8 months without alcohol. So I'm doing pretty good.
No, and I noticed that. I'm glad you brought that up because I've just celebrated 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
A day at a time. And that's for everybody's safety. You know, it's like, you know, I am Irish. I kiss the Blarney Stone, it kissed me back. Can go to bars, thankfully. I can play in clubs. I can buy people drinks and have them enjoy it. But I feel much better. I do.
Same. I feel better mentally. I feel better physically. And for me, it was never like this, I'm an alcoholic or I need to go to meetings type of a thing.
Can you leave me out of this, please? Okay.
I mean, I understand that for some people, you know. You stole my thunder. I was just about to qualify my statement.
Feel free.
And I thought if that works for somebody, I mean, obviously, like, it's a great thing. For me, it's more, I'm very much a creature of habit. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I do the same routine every morning. That's kind of what keeps me sane. And, you know, that being said, if I go to the club and I do a shot with my guitar player at the bar before the gig, I'm going to do that every gig. And I play so often that it just...
You're 28 again. Okay, knock it off.
It still feels 28.
Yes. And look, I need to borrow you for your good looks and your musical ability for my next gig. And actually people will show up.
Well, thanks. I'm so down.
Taking the show on the road for the Brunch Amphitheater tour.
Totally.
No, it's good stuff. But no, I've just found that I drink soda water alcoholically now. You know, I'll have 17 in a night, or I've done shots with friends that are soda water just to, you know, contribute to the fun.
Same. It's like that feeling of being connected, you know, or like included, you know.
Yeah.
And there was definitely an adjustment period, but I would say after about a week and a half, it felt like that, you know, to use the cliche, like the new normal for me.
Right. And a lot of it, when I went to my doctor and said, hey, I'm filled with anxiety, what's, you know, happening? Well, what do you do, Frankie? And I'm like, well, I drink. Let's see, that causes anxiety? And I said, well, what about the wild pirate ladies of Captain Morgan or that Corona commercial at the beach? And he's like, Frankie, that's marketing. It's called lies. I'm like, because it actually is a poison. You know, I want people to have fun and do their thing. It's just when I'm banned from 4 clubs, blacking out, getting completely wasted and getting thrown out of places, I think, you know, and that's a slow Wednesday for some of my friends here in Boston. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's just my choice, and it is a poison. But congratulations.
Thank you. And the same to you. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yes.
Something to aspire to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's just keep that in the day. So I've been called a degenerate before. once or twice, and I'm wondering if I'm in that band of yours. Tell me about Lewellen Degenerates?
Well, that is the cover band that I'm in. Our lead guitar player is Alex Walls, who's this amazing, only 25-year-old Canadian kid who is probably the most meticulous guitar player I have ever played with. He learns every lick, just like the record. He's got chops like I've never seen. He has a custom built, exactly like Eddie Van Halen's guitar. And after Eddie passed away, we kind of agreed, like, okay, we're not going to do Eruption, because we do about 10 Van Halen sets, but we kind of were saying, okay, well, that's like Eddie's song. Well, a couple months goes by, and Alex is like, I really sat down and I, like, relearned it, and I wouldn't mind doing it. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, and Do You Really Got Me? And he played it, and, man, I was choked up through the whole first verse of You Really Got Me. I mean, he's an incredibly gifted musician and definitely puts in the work. So he's my favorite person I've ever played with in Nashville. Don't tell Phil that.
Well, no, this is the other thing. True confessions. I think I've seen him in the band called Rush. He's so good, this young Canadian fella.
We actually played a Rush show. We didn't do the whole show. We played Limelight in a tribute to Neil Peart, and the proceeds went to cancer. My buddy, for cancer research, my friend Logan Hatcher, who's a big philanthropist, bass player, musician in Nashville. He coordinated that, and it was a huge success.
And people should go on YouTube and check it out. I did. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man.
You sing so well. And that isn't easy stuff, Guns N' Roses or Rush, by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, we do Boston and Foreigner, too, and I like doing that type of stuff just because it's, anybody can get up there and sing a Miranda Lambert song. I mean, no offense. It's not
have you been looking at my set list? You really...
For sure, anybody can do Sweet Caroline. It doesn't require a whole lot of finesse or chops, but when you can pull off stuff like that, like Boston or Guns N' Roses or Van Halen, man, it really showcases your band's ability.
Absolutely. Are we allowed to talk about the American Vinyl All-Star Band?
Yeah, we can talk about the band. Bobby Turk, who is my solid as a rock bass player, who sings lead and sings amazing harmonies, like he can go low or high. And then on drums, I have Christopher Williams of Accept, who they just dropped an album. And he has also played for GeneSimmons and AceFrehley. That being said, we are also a KISS tribute band.
Yes, and we're going to get that. I don't know where you came up with the name Lick. No, listen.
It was because of Lick It Up.
Well, absolutely. My point being is, Paul Stanley says his DNA, with KISS and the way they've influenced everybody, it influenced my Melted Chapsticks band. Because because my lips melt chapsticks. And now we have to blame KISS for that. You have Lick It Up. We got it going on. We also, Phil was on Buffalo Rock City.
Okay.
The Talisman were on that, and John Jeffries, I had him on a few weeks ago to talk about that. And that's just the great thing. I was going to ask you, where did you meet your bandmates? And that's my feeling is, going to Nashville, you're going to meet a few musicians, correct? Is that why you came there?
Right. I came here kind of on a whim. A friend of mine had booked like a showcase here. I was living in Myrtle Beach at the time, actually, and I was playing in a cover band down there called Julio and the Saltines because...
Did Eddie... We'll get to Eddie Carlino in a second.
That was a really good band. Yeah, so I came here to watch a band, and my master's degree is in linguistics, and I taught at a couple universities. I graduated in 2008, couldn't really find a job, so I worked in sales. And when I came here, I walked up and down Broadway, and I'm like, you don't have a day job? You don't have a day job? Like, everybody just plays music and makes fairly decent money doing so. And I said, screw it. I'm moving to Nashville. And I quit my job, and I moved here 2 weeks later, and I was fortunate enough. I pounded the pavement and got in with some good people, and was blessed with some good gigs, and it all worked out.
No, absolutely, and it's going to work out because you're fantastic. By the way, you're very talented.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just true. When I think as an artist, you're always judging or watching. Wait, that's from Wedding Crashers. But, it's good to hear that, and, you're doing it, which is important. Now, with your bandmates, you came there and you just met them through the scene?
Yeah, Alex actually used to come and watch me play. Oh my gosh, she must have been like 19 years old. And, and then he was just definitely a rocker. And now rockers, we kind of have our own scene now, which is awesome. But back then you were kind of like a bit of an outcast with like, you didn't grow up listening to Hank Williams Jr. It's like, no, dude, I'm from the Northeast. I know like 90s grunge, classic rock, and some hip hop, So we definitely vibed, and we actually played together in an original band called Featherborn, who the lead singer-songwriter of that group, Danny Beissel, he's the one who fronts American Vinyl.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that all was all very, like, intertwined.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I remember one time I was out at a gig, watching Alex play, and he was on stage, and I remember I was back when I was drinking, and I was texting him. I'm like, dude, if I ever get a band, you're my guitar player. And when I finally, started doing my own thing, I called him immediately. I'm like, hey man, you want to play in a rock band and never play Wagon Wheel ever again?
Again, attacking my set list.
The pain of the musician. Oh my God.
I think, yeah. I may have really played that before.
I actually played it when I was teaching over in China. We did this.
Okay.
We did this campfire club where we taught the kids American folk songs, and that was one of the songs that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really not a joke. I mean, you got Barry Goudreau, Skunk Baxter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's an all-star cast.
Yeah, and you've got Leroy Romains of the Wailers. You have Mousey Thompson, who's the drummer for Wilson Pickett, Peaches and Herb, and James Brown. I think he did James Brown for like 16 or 17 years. Yes. I think that's before he passed away. And on the gig that I did, Brian Quinn of Candlebox, who I like grew up absolutely loving because I was, a grunge kid. He was on the gig. Love that guy to death. He's definitely my bro. And Wally Palmer of the Romantics was on that gig, and he's just the biggest sweetheart. That was it was one of those things where, at like sound check and on the gig, it was just kind of like, okay, I'm here. I did backing vocals and percussion. But when the gig was over, it was like, did that just happen? It's like Skunk Baxter, unreal.
Dreams do come true.
They do.
Being in the right place at the right time. With that, are you going to be doing some more stuff?
I hope to. I know all their gigs in 2020, of course, were canceled. I'm not sure if they have anything in the books yet. I just spoke with Danny the other day because we've been writing together. He's getting ready to drop his second album. I can't speak as to who all will be playing on that album yet, but there definitely will be some heavy hitters on it, and I will be recording on that album with him as well. So Featherborn Part 2 is going to be coming at you.
Yes. And, Featherborn, and it's heavy as can be. We love it.
Oh, yeah. Danny is probably the most gifted singer-songwriter I've ever known in my life. And he's definitely, you can hear the British invasion influence in his songwriting, without sounding too much like a musician, like the major 4 to minor 4 movement, things like that, they really show themselves in his writing. And he's an incredible singer. It's like Robert Plant, Elvis, and Burton Cummings had a sexy love child.
Right. Right. All the right genes.
All the right genes, yeah.
Speaking of which, I just wanted to ask you this question, and I asked this to Jeremy Asbrock. Nashville Sneaker. Have you heard the song?
I don't think so.
It's by the Guess Who.
Okay.
And Jeremy's from Nashville and didn't know what a Nashville sneaker was. So I am on the quest to find out. I assume they're talking about shoes in that song, but look that up.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm a pretty big Guess Who fan. I don't know that song.
Right. I just need some answers.
To be fair, I never heard Nashville Cats until I moved here either. So
right. Especially I had a chance to interview Ryan Spencer Cook, and he didn't meet Bill I think Jeremy didn't meet him for years, and they're both in the rock scene. Well, he was with Shazam.
It's really amazing. You play you're a rock musician in Nashville long enough, it kind of gets to the point, like, we all know each other and we're a pretty tight-knit group, so I feel pretty fortunate. It's funny you mentioned Vixen, too, because Tyson Leslie, who plays for them, is a really good friend of mine. He also does, like, charity tribute shows, The Rare Hair, which is very similar to the Rock and Roll Residency in terms of its composition. That was how I met Tyler Warren. He's the percussionist and backing vocal guy for Queen. And that was probably the most recent studio work that I've done. Was he actually called Phil. He had me in mind, wanted to know if I would be right to record some vocals for Adam Lambert. And by the way, the reason why I didn't tell you about this in my text is because I didn't know if I was allowed to talk about it yet.
Oh, nice. No, that's...
So he calls me and he asked if I could do all the backing vocals on Don't Stop Me Now, which there are 19 separate vocal tracks, and none of it could be tuned because of the purpose of the project. And actually, Christopher Williams, my drummer, we did it in his studio. We were at it for 7 hours one night, getting that all done. So that was totally awesome.
No, that song blows me away to begin with. I mean, it was so uplifting, and it was joy, really.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. And it's cool, kind of getting into that stuff and realizing, if there's one harmony part, it's going to be tripled or quadrupled in any given place. So, when you hear these big vocal swells, there's like 15 Monicas singing at the same time, but again, coming, with my range, I was able to cover all of that and do all of that. And it's not even just the range. It's like Freddie's articulation, and sometimes he's like power singing, other times he's being more breathy or finessey, and there's a lot of detail that went into recording those vocals. And Chris definitely worked me hard. He was like, "Hey, do it more like this," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right." But it's definitely a hard thing to try to reproduce.
No, my band does it in drop P. You're like, all right, everybody, Frankie's going to sing. We're actually not letting this rocket ship to go anywhere. I mean, his range, Freddie, was amazing. And again, yours is as well, so I can see why you're involved with that.
Yeah, there's not many singers, in my opinion, that could really touch him in terms of just like range dynamics and finesse. I mean, maybe George Michael, but there's not many out there. He was definitely a gift, and we were lucky to have him.
No, absolutely. And that makes me think, thankfully with the, recordings, how many singers in history that we didn't get to hear.
Oh, yeah.
If we're able to hear Robert Plant, Freddie Mercury, yourself, right? I mean, it's wish we could go back in time.
Right, and dude, same. And doing all those backing tracks, you really realize just how much, just raw muscle Freddie has, and it takes you back to when, you think like Freddie sings high. Well, try doing some of his like super high harmonies. It was the same thing when I did the vinyl gig and we're doing all these Boston songs. Brad Delp sings crazy high, but like the high harmonies, like on a song like Smokin', oh my gosh, like you have to suck it in to hit those.
I know. I mean, actually, I don't. I've tried everything possible. I've been with Mark Baxter. He's a vocal coach. Ruby Rose Fox, who's doing well in Chicago now. And for me, starting later in life, it's been a blast. I'm like, all right, but it is amazing for you, for me, for musicians. You know, I saw the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, and to see what they kind of went through and Freddie's life, and
yeah, it was very surreal, you know. But I definitely feel, you know, blessed that I've been given these opportunities. And again, if it wasn't for the whole COVID thing, I mean, I may have not even had those opportunities. So,
no, for sure. You know, it's nothing like a global pandemic to make us stay home. And you know, I took that whatever test it is. I realized that I'm an introvert, and you wouldn't think that, but it's been nice to have some time just to work on different stuff myself.
Absolutely.
So it's been good stuff. Tell me about, how did you meet Eddie Carlino?
Well, okay, so I was wanting a custom guitar strap, right? And Phil actually has the replica of Paul Stanley's that Eddie made for him. So I just did a Facebook post, and a bunch of people, you know, referenced people in the Nashville area. And then I think someone tagged Eddie, or maybe Phil suggested Eddie. I can't remember. So I got in touch with him. And yeah, he's actually made 2 straps for me now. So he made me the Paul Stanley replica, and then he made me one to go with my Les Paul. That's just beautiful. It's like a alligator with tiger's eye. It's a beautiful guitar strap. So it's nice and heavy. And he warned me. He was like, once you have one of mine, you're not going to want to buy anybody else's. And he's definitely right.
I've known him for, again, I've been 28 for centuries, but at least 12 years. And he did a blinged out mic for me. He did my strap. Several years ago, did a replica Paul Stanley guitar. It's all blinged out. That's the whole point for me later in life, to create a band and have some fun and be able to interview stars like yourself. It's just a great time. And that's the whole point of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, which I don't do any of them anymore because of COVID. It's like, I thought this was going to be fun. You know, and then it's, you know, to be able to parlay that in and, you know, have Eddie sponsor me. Eddie sponsors me and then puts on lovely guests like you to talk about my set list, about my drinking. It's collusion.
He's definitely a really sweet person, and he likes to like bring people together. You know, he actually hooked me up with Franz Stuber. It's funny that you mentioned the custom guitar, because I had found a Washburn Flying V, like the blinged out one, like Paul's. It used to belong to Paul, and this guy was selling it. So Fran, who's Paul's guitar tech, he attested to the veracity of that it was actually his.
I joke with Eddie because it's gorgeous, this guitar. And I said, well, I guess I actually really need to learn how to play it. And again, starting with the bass, I was like, it only has 4 strings. You know, it's like, are you kidding me? And they talk about the 10,000 hours, but now with COVID and having more time, it's like, I wish I did this decades ago. Well, actually, we're going to edit the whole wagon wheel out of this. Thank God. How to Burn Bridges Brightly.
Hey, look, it's a great song. You know what I mean? I'm a little burned out. On it. That's what.
We love music therapy. It's good stuff. Tell me about your work with Travis Tritt.
So that was this big concert that they held just in downtown Nashville, where they blocked off the street, and I got to do backing vocals and percussion with him. He's come into the club before. Like, I've met him and his wife and his family several times, so it was really fun just to like really share a stage with him, and like, instead of him sitting in with our band, it was us actually being his band, and he's just, again, I've probably said this like about everybody, but he is a total sweetheart. He's one of the, and I've met a lot of famous people over the years playing in Nashville because celebrities show up to the clubs, but he is definitely one of the nicest ones that I've met. I think it was his birthday yesterday too, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. Well, a quick happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Travis.
Yes. No, and that's my feeling as well. I I've met a lot of beautiful people through music, and I think that's the whole point when it comes down to green M&Ms, or I love to make fun of that stuff, really. I mean, I played in the Jungle in Somerville, and they don't have a backstage, but they had this sort of access elevator to the stage, so I did a video of me laying in that, pretending to be backstage. and the owner just got a big kick out of it, and said the point is not about being the star, but the audience is the star, and they're supposed to, we shine for them, let them have a good time. Well, we're having a good time on stage.
Oh yeah, it's definitely this mutual exchange of positive energy. I mean, I definitely feel that when the crowd is really into it. I'm always into it, but when you feel that love, you really you really shine. Yeah,
it's beautiful. Now, in Pittsburgh again, Steel City, I actually saw a Kiss concert at the Igloo before they took it down, and I saw Penguins playing there before Knockdown, and it was just great. Paul Stanley was screaming, it's a Sunday night, this is church. Are you the star child in Lick?
I am the star child.
Yes, you are. I would be Ace. Not saying that I can play the guitar, but I can be spacey. You do a solo. You want me to be by myself?
I mean, come on. You want to, as a woman, you want to wear that red lipstick. It's.
And as a guy, I want to wear the silver. I'm sorry, and I've done that before.
You want to be the space man, absolutely. Yeah, I always say, Paul Stanley he's got, and as a lot of my favorite frontmen do, they're a little effeminate, Robert Plant, Freddie Mercury. They've got that kind of vibe, which I absolutely love. Or Prince, so it works, and I don't have his luxurious chest hair, okay, but I do have his luxurious chest.
Yes. They call those weapons.
Yeah, I can't wear as low cut of a top as he does, but I come pretty close. and I do have the PS 120 Paul Stanley signature Ibanez.
Yeah, that's what I have in Eddie Put the Rhinestones On.
That's so. I really would love to have one of the cracked mirror ones. I saw somebody the other day. I'm in this Paul Stanley's Collectors Club on Facebook, and somebody had the purple cracked mirror. Oh my gosh, I was like, take my money.
Right, and then Eddie's now, I think, doing the cracked mirrors for.
It's not Ibanez, is it?
I think that could be it. Yes.
If he doesn't do Washburn anymore, I know that.
Right, but he's starting with the cracked mirror for them. So
they are beautiful guitars, and as much as I have 3 Gibsons, and as much as I love them, I like the scale of the PS 120 better. I love the tone of it, and man, does it stay in tune. Right. From a Les Paul to that.
It even when I set it to drop P when I'm hitting Freddie songs, and they're like, "Please never sing that again." No, you can't stop me now. I'm having a good time. But back to the Kiss show, which was great. Hanging out in Pittsburgh, the Steel City. Do you still go back?
I do a few times a year. Yeah, to see family and friends. Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy Justin Strelzik played for the Steelers back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he took me into the locker room, and we're working out with the guys, and I'm in my Steeler, and I'm a Patriots fan, so.
How dare you?
Right. Coach Cowart comes in and says, "Who the F are you?" As I have my 20-pound dumbbells, doing lunges. "Who the hell are you?" And I said, "I'm the kicker from Seattle that you traded for."
Oh, my goodness.
What? And he stormed off, and some of the players laughed. So, but being in the city, loved the food, warm people, went to some after hours. But what was great was when I got back to Boston, the Kiss show was in December. I walk into the Liberty Hotel here, and to see one of my girlfriends who's bartending. And this woman turned around and was staring at me, giving me the evil eye.
Oh,
and I said to her, I said, "Wow, I feel at home. You must be from Boston." She looks at me. "No, I'm from Pittsburgh." I said, well, I've been there and done that last December. She goes, are you Frankie? I said, yes, I am. She said, I hung out with you all night at the Marriott before the Kiss show, and we had the best time. I cannot effing believe this.
Oh, my gosh.
And I said, well, you get an F for stalking. It took you 6 months to find me. Like, what's wrong with you? And we had a really good laugh, and, Pittsburgh show was a great time. It wasn't all night, unfortunately. She didn't sleep with me, but again, that's usually a third date.
Stands are overrated anyway.
Well, being Irish. Anyway, we'll keep it a family edition here. Tell me, speaking of family edition, tell me about your time with Kid Rock.
That was the same night as the Travis. Yeah, same kind of a thing, just backing vocals and percussion.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And did you get to interact with, because Kid Rock lives in Nashville, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've I would say, like, I know Bobby. Like, it's not like I have his phone number in my phone, but he's been around a lot over the years, and I've interacted with him a bunch. Yeah, he's a pretty mellow guy, like, even at, when we were rehearsing at, I think we rehearsed at SIR here in Nashville, and he's just a very, like, laid back, kind of like a quiet, introverted kind of a dude.
Will you stop bringing me up? I told you I took the test, okay?
Hey, I'm an introvert too.
It's kind of wild that, and it's true. I mean, I would be walking around after a show, and they're like, Frankie, because I'm maybe 6'2" as it is, but I would still have my Star Child shoes on. They're like, do you play basketball? I mean, it was just, we really, like, I feed off that sort of energy, getting out there, and a lot of my friends will say it's just being the life of the party. And you seem to do the same thing, and I want everyone to jump on and check your stuff out. But then there's a time where it's like, I just really do want to be alone.
You do. I think, especially in the industry that we work in, you need that alone time to recharge. I think to a lot of people, I appear extroverted, but I'm truly not. Like, I love being alone. I love being at home. Like, if my friends are going out, I'm more inclined to stay in. Well, and not just because of COVID, just in general.
No, I mean, the great excuse now is once COVID lifts, hopefully in 2023, I just talked to a few scientists. No, I know, no. What I'm saying is, I'm not thinking, I'm so grateful I'm going to keep you on for the next hour of the crisis line so you can just keep me, help me. No,
I'm so down.
It's really kind of like, you could just Zoom call with your friends. Everybody's so used to Zoom. It's like, yeah, meet me downtown Nashville in my Nashville sneakers. And you're like, no, I'm going to Zoom in for this one. We have some options now. Tell me about your EP.
The one I did with Krantz or the one that I'm working on?
Well, yeah, we can talk about both, really.
Well, I guess we should go in chronological order. So, my friend Jeff Krantz, who's actually also a huge Beatles fanatic, I played in his band and recorded an EP with him called The Panic Tapes, which is on Spotify and Apple Music. And he is also very, like, Beatles influenced. So it's got that kind of a vibe, like somewhere between, like, a 90s alternative and, like, the hippy-dippy, like, 70s AM gold type of a vibe,
Well, I'm thinking of actually getting bangs, and we'll talk about that after.
No, don't do it.
Okay, thank you.
Bad idea.
I guess we don't need the crisis hour. We're all set for that.
Look, here's the thing. I some people can pull off bangs. I just think everybody looks better without them.
Okay. Word to the wise.
But that's just my opinion. Beauty is the eye of the beholder. So, yeah, I did percussion. That was actually how I started doing percussion. Was Jeff pushed me into doing that. And I did backing vocals or some duet type stuff. And actually, he pushed me into doing synths in that band as well, which I at the time had like a rudimentary understanding of keys. I played piano by ear since I was like 6 or 7 years old, but never really had a lesson. So that was a great opportunity for me to grow. It was my first time really recording anything serious like that and touring with a band, and got to do some really cool shows together.
And where did you do those shows? Because I do like to know where folks have been.
We played up in Chicago. We did Kansas City, St. Louis. We did Gaslight in St. Louis. And I'm trying to remember, it's like this big festival they do every year in Michigan. And it is Eludie Summerfest, maybe? It might be just generic like that, I think is what it was. And we shot music videos. We did Run Away With Me is the music video that it's on YouTube, I'm in, which is hilarious. And we also did a couple of we did a TV spot. I think it's called Good Morning Nashville, and it's a local news show, and they typically have a local original artist on every program, so we got to do that together. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of kind of like firsts for me in that band, so that was it was good. He definitely pushed me outside of my comfort zone in a lot of ways that I needed.
I think that's great that these opportunities come up and you get to do that and do the bucket lists and continue it. I mean, things are on pause at the moment, but you're taking your time to...
Yeah, so the thing that I'm working at, well, other than writing with Danny for the Featherborn thing, is I want to just do like a 2 or 3 songs, just a little baby EP with just some original stuff. There's one song that I co-wrote with Danny called Broken that I really love. I'm excited about. And there's one that I just literally wrote all by myself, which I'd never done before. Crap, I can't think of the title. I'm having a brain fart.
That's not allowed on this show.
It's called Your Heart is Stone. I'm sorry.
Thank God for editing. I'm editing myself out of this complete episode, so it's just going to be you, so we have ratings. You will be... Eddie will have set up yourself, because all the comments about my set list and... No, I love that. I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
Why would that have been your first song that you've written? Why didn't you do it before, do you think?
Well, by myself.
Well, I mean, absolutely. Yeah. Like, do you have a diary at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I should say is I've written songs and lyrics, but never really, like, finished one.
Right. No, and that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if it was self-judgment or if it was the excessive drinking or, what happened was that I was going through a pretty difficult heartbreak, and for about like a month or so, I was kind of lost, and one day it just kind of came to me, and I wrote out, like, there was extra verses and stuff like that, obviously, and I cut it down and got it like in the shape it is now. And when it was done, it was like I was over it. So it was amazingly, it was therapeutic for me. I think maybe my problem is I'm always happy, and I can only write when I'm sad.
Right. That's not a bad place to be. But the other thing is, too, I was just thinking before you jumped on, I was listening to a Beatles song, and they kind of sing about love, and a lot of their songs are happy until John got involved. But... No, it's just, have you thought of, I really write dark songs as well.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm also very fond of, like, since you mentioned John, like, he's got a lot of those self-deprecating, jealous boyfriend songs. I really like the juxtaposition of dark, depressing lyrics with, like, a happy-sounding song. I just have always loved that. Like Billy Joe Armstrong always wrote songs like that with Green Day. There's a song on their first album where he's literally talking about his girlfriend beating the crap out of him to the point where he can't leave the house. And the house has this like 60s, the song has this like 60s pop vibe to it. And it's just this amazing dynamic. I've always liked that. So maybe that's what we do.
No, exactly. I mean, that's Quentin Tarantino as a director. It's just it's something that I will take into consideration. Quickly. Let's get the upbeat, happy music with, but it's something to think about. I wonder if that, outside of our comfort zones, if I said, hey, write me a happy song.
Right.
I don't like that tone, okay?
I'm sorry. What tone would you like? I'm trying to be accommodating here, man.
We're both really trying.
I always say do or do not. There is no try. It's definitely got to be the headspace.
No, for sure. Have you ever been to any NAMM shows?
I've been invited, but different extenuating circumstances have prevented me from going.
I have not been to one. We will try to rally the troops and hit one when we're allowed to do it, because I hear COVID is lifting in the next few weeks.
I hope so. They get this vaccine rolled out, and hopefully we can, get things back to normal. I have to say it was a little frustrating seeing all those people at the Super Bowl when we can't have concerts.
Are you talking about expatriate players? I can't go there right now, okay?
No, I'm
no, just kidding. No, it's absolutely something where I have people in my life with very strong feelings about that.
I do too. And it's again, like I said, like the sports are like the vein of the musician. It's like, why do they get to do that and we don't, but in all reality, I do want people to be safe, and I don't want to work in an environment or bring people into an environment where they are not going to be safe. That's definitely my first priority. So I'll think. Sorry, go ahead.
It's been about a year then. Like, I know you guys have started up with the brunches and certain capacity, but how open is the Nashville music scene?
Well, it depends on the venue. If the venue is a bar, I think they have less capacity. If it's operating as a restaurant, they're allowed to have more. Everybody has to be seated. There's no dancing. There's no standing, unless you're getting up to use the restroom, in which case you have to wear a mask. So in Nashville, musicians, for the most part, do work for tips. So having less patrons, in a venue does kind of put the squeeze on our income.
Does the live streams work?
I would say they were more lucrative at first. But Phil and I have done pretty well with them. I would say with the Beatles shows we do, like at Wind Down, playing for a live audience in addition to live streaming it, that's my most lucrative gig right now.
Awesome.
Which is great because I love doing it. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, and you guys are great at that.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us how everyone can get in touch with you, listen to your music, etc.?
Absolutely. Well, my Facebook is Monica Lewellen. It's Lewellen. And there are videos for live streams on there, like previous shows that we've done. And there's also some on Instagram. My Instagram is monica.llewellyn, at monica.llewellyn. And the band's handle is at Lewellen Degenerates.
Yes, yes, I love that name.
Thanks. There's all kinds of cool videos on there. You can see when Alex does the AceFrehley thing, he's got the smoking Les Paul. When he does Shock Me, Chris has the Mirrorball kit with the LED Kiss logo in the bass drums. It's a whole production.
No, it's really a whole nother world, and it's so much fun, and that's the point, and that's why it's like I want this stuff to come back as well safely, and to be able to do shows with at least a few humans there. We were slated for the St. Patrick's Day parade, and that was canceled again. I've done a few of them, 100,000 people. It's just such a rush. You're really very talented. And we want to open for you on the Brunch Amphitheater tour of Europe.
You are so hired. You're totally.
And it's, it doesn't have to be high. It could be low calorie, but we'll feast on your music.
That sounds good to me. And I will say, too, as much as I do want live shows to come back and things to go back to normal, I am grateful that we live in this day and age, and we do have the opportunity to, to do Zoom calls with people or FaceTime or do these live stream shows and still make a little bit of money and connect with people. Because imagine if this had happened in the 90s.
Exactly.
I just always looking for those silver linings, and what I can be grateful for. And I'm definitely grateful for that, because it's allowed me to tap into an aspect of the industry that I didn't even realize was there.
But that's the whole thing about positivity, karma. It really seems like you have a wonderful family in Nashville of musicians, in the rock scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great thing, and so honored to have you on Melted.
I'm grateful for you wanting to have me on. I feel very blessed.
Lots of fun and laughs, and we'll keep it going. In the meantime, just keep singing.
Absolutely. I don't ever intend to stop.
My mom wished I would, but I'm not going to stop either. Have a super night.
Thanks, man. You too. I appreciate it.
And we'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. And that was Monica Lewellen. What a great show to learn about her career, her life, all the wonderful people, stars that have gotten to play with her. Her Beatles show with Phil Shouse. A lot of great stuff going on in Nashville. Very exciting and wonderful to hear about her new EP, one that she's already done. You can find her on Facebook. We're just very thankful for Monica Lewellen and all that she's doing. And this is another episode of Melted, sponsored by Carlino Guitars. Go down to Eddie's shop, have a strap made or a guitar made, say Frankie sent you, and he'll double the price. We're just so grateful. Keep making your art, keep making your music, and very grateful to have Monica Lewellen on my show. And have a great night, everybody.
This podcast was produced in collaboration with the Boston Free Radio Podcast Network, part of BostonFreeRadio.com and Somerville Media Center, Somerville's longest-running public access media center that enables a vibrant and diverse community to express its creativity, explain its ideas, share its cultures, and foster the individual right to freedom of speech. Learn more about Somerville Media Center at somervillemedia.org, or check out some of the other amazing Boston Free Radio podcasts and radio shows at bostonfreeradio.com. Thanks for listening.